like an axle.
Alright folks, welcome to Stu's Garage. It's 1,000 degrees in Stu's Garage today, but we're out here anyways, and we've got a broke Mustang that we need to fix. So basically what happened is I wanted to have a little bit of fun, did a burnout, and the diff actually came disconnected, snapped the drive shaft in half, and that was that. Had to tow the car home. So I thought that I had blown the transmission. I've been riding around here slamming gears with the dog box, and it's been tons of fun, but you know, doesn't sound like the greatest thing in the world. But anyways, I looked under the car, saw the diff laying on the ground, and I was like, well, that doesn't belong there. And upon further investigation, I found out this bolt here in the back of the diff. It's hard to see, we're gonna pull all of this stuff out, but this bolt here in the back of the diff actually backed itself out. It just completely slid out. And this bolt here, the one that sits above it, so there's basically 4 bolts that hold the diff in. There's one in the front of the diff here, one in the front of the diff here where the bushings are. Then this piece right here actually contains a bushing, but these 2 pieces actually bolt to the diff. And this is my diff brace from Steeda. So what happened is this guy decided to twist itself out, wasn't holding on to anything, and then when I popped the clutch, it sheared this bolt off right here. And in the process, it took a chunk out of my actual diff cover. So I have a new diff cover. We're gonna pull that out, inspect everything, slap the new diff cover back on. If you're new to this channel and you don't understand why my rear end in this Mustang looks like this, I actually have the whole independent rear suspension out of a 2004 Cobra Mustang. And this thing is, it's great to drive on, it's not so great for working on. Things are a little bit different. Some things are better, some things are worse, but in this situation, I don't know. So I've already gone ahead and removed the rear pipes. Got part of the exhaust off. I should be able to reach around that. I got the drive shaft out. I already had a new drive shaft made, so basically what we have to do is pull the hubs, pull the axles on both the diff from the front, and everything should come straight down. I've never pulled the diff out like this before, so we'll see how this goes. Alright folks, check it out. This is what happened. Once again, you can see here the bolt on the back. This is how it would be oriented in the car if you were looking at it from the rear. And this bolt backed out, put all the stress on this bolt. When I hit the gas, sheared everything off. So this is still in the car, inside of the mounting bracket, if that's what you want to call it. So this whole piece is still inside the car. I have to take that out, and I'm going to replace it with this one. And as you can see here, we've got my Steeda diff cover brace. Highly recommended if you run a Cobra IRS in your car. It adds a lot of strength to your diff. So there we go. We're going to go ahead, swap out this diff cover, add new silicone, and get ready to put this thing back in the car. Yeah. Alright, so we got the diff somewhat clean. We've got the diff cover somewhat clean. We're going to go ahead and slather our silicone on here and go ahead and make these parts together. One tip that I want to give when you're doing anything involving silicone gasket maker or anything like that where you're sealing 2 halves of something together, don't get silicone down into your holes. Filling your holes with silicone can actually build hydraulic pressure when you're putting the screws in there, and it can actually crack the casing of whatever you're trying to tighten down, whether that be your transmission, your differential, whatever that is. So you definitely don't want to do that. Make sure you go around the holes. Alright, so we've got all of our bolts back into place. One thing that I like to follow whenever I put a diff back together is you don't fully torque down your diff cover. You give it a little bit of time for the silicone to set, so maybe like 30 minutes to an hour before you come back, and then you fully torque that thing down. And it's supposed to help it seal a little bit better. Not 100% sure if it's true. You don't always have to wait. If you don't feel like waiting, don't. But if you can take the time, just do it. Alright guys, with the diff all sealed back up, we're going to go ahead and put fluid in it. And the fluid I'm going to be using today is Mobil 1 Synthetic 75-90. This has no friction modifiers or anything like that because this is no longer an LSD. This is a welded diff. So there's less moving parts, there's no clutches, no shims, none of that. It doesn't need that stuff. I don't need anything special, but I mean, synthetic is only a couple of dollars more and it's always better. So I go for the synthetic stuff. Also, to make life a little bit easier, I used one of these extra bushings that I had laying around, and it's a perfect fit. I use that to cap the other side along with a rubber glove. So that's going to help hold the fluid in while I position this thing in the car. Otherwise, I'll make a huge mess. Alright guys, we got the drift box back together. Everything's in. And what we're going to go ahead and do is, before we set this thing down on the ground, just going to run the engine, put it in gear, get the wheels turning, and just make sure I don't hear any strange noises. Whenever you have failures like this, there's always something obvious that goes wrong, but there could also be other related damages that aren't so apparent. And I did my best to make sure that there wasn't anything else going on. I feel pretty confident, but you never know. And before I take it off the lift, I might as well just do this quick test.